Breath of the Wild is special to a lot of YouTubers, especially in the video essay community. It's become kind of a cliche to have a special, life-changing relationship with the game, and it's become even more of a cliche to make a video essay about it. In the same vein, nitpicky takes about it in order to become a lightning rod for attention and clicks have become popular too. What you're getting from me is neutrality. I had a great time playing the first 20 or so hours of this game, and then after that I still liked it, but it wasn't as good. I came to regret dropping the extra cash on the DLC when I initially bought the game, assuming I'd play through every nook and cranny. Alongside offering a more middle-of-the-road take on this game, I'd like to see whether my expectations for Tears of the Kingdom are properly managed or not. There seem to be 3 big questions on everyone's minds concerning this new release. 1. Is this game actually an evolution of the one that came out 6 years ago? 2. Does it justify being a full-priced game? 3. Why is Ganon so hot? We'll be answering these questions in reverse order. 3. He just is. 2. I want to avoid the question of whether it's worth $70, because I don't think it is, but I don't think most games are. That's just the current gen premium price now. I can't change it. What's more interesting is the ways I fell in and out of love with Breath of the Wild, and the way I want Tears to fundamentally change enough to provide more for me to enjoy while also staying true to what made the first one so good. Is that worth paying for an entirely new game? Initially, my answer was no. I was in the camp of, if this game was made using the engine of the last one, why is it taking so long? And why not just release it as DLC anyways? I thought it was just that Nintendo wanted money, and continued to believe that through seeing most of the promotional material for Tears of the Kingdom. Sure, Ultra Hand looks cool, fusing is wonderful, but this was still all stuff that looks like it could be coupled with the first game. I wanted the caramelized onions on my cheeseburger. Making a separate order was unnecessary. That was until I saw the final pre-release trailer. I've hated joining hype trains for games ever since the Pokemon Company decided to start taking my hopes and dreams and squandering them. Since then, I try to avoid excitement until I'm very clear on how a gameplay loop will go for the product I'm looking forward to. The kooky thing here is, I know how Breath of the Wild plays. I think that's why, until recently, the biggest feeling I had towards this game was mild happiness. Not anything bad, just not anything huge. Like, oh, you're bringing me more of that thing I enjoyed for the most part? Sure, I'm gonna have some gripes, but I'm not gonna turn it down. Seeing that price hike definitely took that mild excitement and turned it into concern. I already have the thing, and I might not have liked the DLC, but the last time I paid over $60 for this thing, I at least got more than just the main course. The burger was $60 last time. Now you're charging me 70 bones for the caramelized onions? Get out of here, dude. Jabroni. You know what else is cliche in the video essay community? Food allegories. I'm getting away from the point. What about this trailer sold me? In part, it was seeing how much the story seems to have a direct impact on all of the choices I'll be making. First time around, it was, yeah, kill Ganon, I guess. Now everything's a bit more tense. It isn't gonna make me kill Ganon any faster than I did last time, but the feeling of an added pressure raises the stakes, makes my actions feel more important. That's cool. But I'm not buying this game now for the Year 6 motivation patch. What really sold me was how fresh everything looks. Maybe that's clever editing. I could be a fool. But along with ascending to skip exhausting climbs, leading to a stronger focus on planning and combat, and innovation within weapon fusing and machine crafting being the bread and butter here, it's looking like while the exploration is similar, the game is focused on allowing a simple replayability within smaller sections that you've already explored, and that's incredible to me. That's everything I need, really. In Breath of the Wild, once I'm done with an area, I mentally discard it. I've explored, so there's no use for it, right? But the irony is that Breath of the Wild applies some of my favorite elements of games reminiscent of the roguelike genre, and then discards a bunch of the things that keep me coming back. I love being forced to redo if it's gratifying. If there's an actual element of progression per run where my skill can carry me further, That's basically all I need to have fun. But games like Risk of Rain will show me stuff like that and keep me coming back by showing me how I can make all of that magic happen again while feeling new. Breath of the Wild is bold enough to make player freedom a fundamental approach to gameplay. However, often when it feels like it's an obvious time for the team to shell out some nice rewards, it chooses not to reward exploration or choice at all. Korok seeds were only fun to me because I knew I could increase my weapon slots, but I wouldn't be hoarding all of my items if I had better reasons to use them, and I knew I could find equally cool weapons in other places. Shrines were only a vehicle towards upgrades, and upon replays, I avoid them as much as possible unless they're combat shrines. And one more thing. With things like rubies, topazes, sapphires, the shiny rocks, you can collect them and they can help you dye clothes and do certain things, but there's not that many use cases for them. Further on the idea of replaying, while I understand that making a game that you can just keep coming back to doesn't necessarily make a game good, I felt that that was the goal with Breath of the Wild, and personally, I couldn't really find a comfortable mode with it. Either keep going with the file I already had, or restart without key items or powers that made the game more fun. A lot of people liked replaying it, but because I liked playing the game in that comfortable medium area, most of what I enjoyed faded after I passed by it once. Tears of the Kingdom seems like in part it's making adequate adjustments. If you don't want to hear anything based on the demos a couple of press members have been allowed to play and discuss, I hope you enjoyed the video. Otherwise, let's move forward. I ignored most of the hand abilities when watching the demo. My reason is that I can already tell I'll be able to learn and grasp it all better when I'm playing it rather than having it explained to me. What I did focus on, because honestly it's kind of a deciding factor of this game for me, is combat. First up, enemies have armor, and breaking that armor is dependent on the use of fused items. If you hit them with more basic items, you can't get through. The contrarian in me says that this takes away some of my freedom to take out the enemy as I would like to do so. However, the thing that makes my eyes light up at this is that lo and behold, we have more use cases. Along with more enemy types, it seems there's just more ways to fight in Tears of the Kingdom. This makes me happy, especially because I was worried that combat might get monotonous, and hey, it might, but it won't stale nearly as quickly as it did for me in Breath of the Wild, and that's a huge plus. Next, it seems that they're tackling rewards and replayability head first. When you kill a moblin, you always get a craftable type of horn from them. This is nice because there's a certain replayability that I've wanted to count on in the games that wasn't always there. Essentially, yes, weapons break, but if I want to keep on making that weapon, technically I can. Not from complete scrap, at least not that we know of yet, but it's better than being left entirely empty, and I appreciate that. My biggest complaint is that Korok seeds are back. It kind of makes sense, because otherwise they'd have to find an entirely different slot upgrade system, but I'm kind of disappointed. My only hope is that with the Koroks back, the puzzles to get them are at least much more interesting. On that note, I have to assume that a similar stamina and heart upgrade system has returned, and plenty of people have pointed out green spiral-looking areas that are plentiful on the map. It's been speculated that at the very least, they might be more focused on things that you can actually do within the main map, like obstacle courses, which might be fun, we'll have to see. With that, I think we have to move along to number 1. Is this game an evolution? It seems like it's advanced a couple of steps. I'll put it to you this way. The first time I played Breath of the Wild, I broke down trees, and with experience crafting in other games, I was excited to try and find whatever crafting set I needed to put together wooden boards and build rafts, or forge weapons of varying qualities. I was severely disappointed to find that, despite having all of the building blocks there, the game had none of those aspects. Nor did it need to. Not every open world needs a crafting mechanic, especially when it becomes tedious to do so. There are games that would be improved without it, or at least with a lessened focus on crafting. That being said, all of the building blocks are already there. So Tears comes by and says, "See all of this stuff? You can stack it." and you can keep stacking it on top of each other and just get wild and wacky with it. I'm definitely a little excited about that prospect. The team is hiding details about late game opportunities. Based on my watch through of Celtic and SkillUp's videos, the team was silent about whether the items you roll for in the fuse machines will always be randomized. For now, that's an irk. I personally like having the choice to either mix it up or stick to my flow, but I do understand the idea of pushing us to be creative in general. It goes against that very staleness that killed some of my enjoyment in the first one. It's in ways like this that Zelda Tears of the Kingdom seems to be in continuous conversation with Breath of the Wild. Not throwing it all back, but taking what was once a blueprint and now hitting the gas on the car that they made with it.